Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Beth, and I recently finished reading The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. This is the first book in the Wheel of Time series, and it was published in 1990 and is about 780 pages long. Um, I I think it's a classic for a reason, and that it creates a really diverse world. Main premise: there are three boys in a village, and they are being sought out by the Dark One. Just think of him as Voldemort, who is trapped away, and he is centered on these three boys, and they're being chased, and they have to put a stop to it before the Dark One gets free. They run around. This book is basically run around until you hit the Dark One. There's really exquisite world building in this novel. I think that's why people talk so well of it, but I don't think the writing in itself is that great. For instance, especially in the first few hundred pages of this novel, every single time I tried to read this book, it would make me sleepy. I don't know why, and it kept happening, and it would be in the middle of the day, and all of a sudden, I would be tired and not want to read this anymore. I didn't think it was bad. I don't think the writing is very good. There are definitely times in the writing, especially near the end, during like magic scenes, it's not descriptive enough and things just happen and you don't understand what's going on. All of a sudden, someone will be transported into a certain place and they're doing something, but you don't know what they're doing, you don't know where they are, and you just kind of have to glaze over and try to pick up where you can to figure it out. At least that's how I felt at this one particular scene near the end. And it just, yeah, especially I think this suffers from what a lot of sci-fi suffers from, in which great world building such as Dune, but the characters are two-dimensional. There's not much to these characters, especially the three boys that were, centering around. They're very much, they have their own streak. Like Matt is a troublemaker. Rand is like the human savior, perfect type boy, and then Perrin is the Rudy guy. The emo guy. Just he's sitting over there being all quiet and special. Um, so it's very much just like stereotype after stereotype, and there really isn't any growth from any characters. I mean, Matt at some point, he's the class clown, and he gets tainted and gets kind of emo as well. Well, more angsty than emo, just gets angry at everybody. But I wouldn't really call that character development because he still goes back to who he was, and he's still, by the end of this novel, tainted. So I mean, take that for you will. It's just, I do think that one of the reasons why maybe I wasn't able to connect with this book is just because I didn't feel like the characters were real enough to me. I do actually plan on reading the next novel. I have the first few in the series that I got used, so I'm going to continue with it and hope that it gets better, because once again, I did enjoy the story. Mostly the world. I didn't think the story, once again, it was pretty bland story-wise. You kind of knew it was coming. Did you really think the Dark One was gonna win? I mean, and it's a series, so it ends at, oh, he's coming back kind of trope. And I don't even think that is necessarily spoilers, because you see it coming. And it's just one of those novels in which it's going to fall to those tropes, like, probably helped create some of those tropes due to the fact that it came out in 1990. So, it's more of a classic considering certain fantasy novels today. So I'm honestly not gonna recommend it. My favorite fantasy series, which also has a great world, is the Codex Alera. The first book in that series is The Furies of the Cauldron. It's by Jim Butcher, and I feel like that succeeds where this one fails, in which the power system is very well formed. You really get into the characters and you get to see the relationships and how the relationships change. In this book, none of the relationships change at all. There's no forward movement in any of them. There's a girl that one of the boy likes, but she just wants to be independent and doesn't really care. That kind of cares, but not really. It's almost as if she has him on the hook. but it goes nowhere through this novel. I'm hoping maybe later they'll have more actual interaction, because like a lot of times it's just talking about interaction but never actually having interaction. So you think about somebody and you think they're special, but you don't show it to me in the book. Don't tell me, show me. um that's just how I felt. And I think that Furies of the Cauldron definitely didn't fall to that. You get to see how people change and grow. um I don't think the prose is bad. It's okay. uh there's definitely, it's fantasy, so there's going to be a lot of words that you don't know how to pronounce, and you're just going to make it up in your head. That's what I do. I do think that it's actually really interesting that it's almost a matriarchy, in a power sense of this world, and I think that that is quite forward thinking. Especially due to the fact that this is one of the older books and it is written by a male, in which both men and women have the power, but the men's power has become tainted, and so women are the only one that can wield it. And and also the the monarchy in this realm is ruled by the queen. The king is kind of extra. He's not really. There actually currently isn't a king, and I don't even think it's because kings have power and the queen doesn't want to give up her power. I think it's just because she doesn't feel like marrying anyone else, because she is grooming her daughter to become a queen in her own right, and I believe just the queen have all the power because apparently the women are the only one that can wield power, and that's interesting. I do think that it's interesting the fact that it's said that the men and women are both needed to perform the magic, and the fact that the men's magic has been tainted has made something lost upon the realm, which I do like the idea of that everybody is important and needed, and seeing how if only one form of power reigns, how it will reflect upon, what is absent, and how it's almost eternal winter and nothing is thriving during this time period because of it. So I'm not gonna. I can't not recommend it because it is spoken of a lot. I know there is in fact an Amazon Prime series, and I'm going to read the sequel. Uh, but maybe read Furies of the Cauldron first because I think it's more enjoyable. Well, have a good one.